Good morning. Welcome to Politics and Power on TSLNigeria TV. The political space is getting tense, and the reality is beginning to dawn on us on how the trajectory is going to go as far as this election is concerned. And before now, we discussed about the third force and how much impact they are going to have on the forthcoming election in 2023. And not many of us gave them a chance, knowing fully well that we have just two political parties that is dominant as far as elections in this country is concerned. I'm talking about the APC and the PDP. But on Saturday, being the 1st of October, there was this political movement across the nation. I'm talking about the obedient movement. And it was a shocker to many of us, because in those regions where we felt that this party, the Labour Party, does not have impact, we actually saw what we call a political hurricane. With me this morning on Politics and Power, I have a man that is fully obedient. We decided to bring him on set to come tell us what is this about the obedient movement. I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Efosa Igodala.
Thank you very much.
The obedient man.
It's my pleasure, sir.
How did it go on Saturday?
It was beyond expectation. We planned, we hoped, like we'll say in the motivational space, we aspired to perspire.
Okay.
But what we acquired was beyond our wildest dream. And I think it's just like the hurricane that they experienced in Florida. It's something that they predicted, but came out more than their prediction.
Okay.
And to see it happen consecutively in more than 8-10 locations across the nation, even in the stronghold of a colossus like Tinubu, is something I think we should at least commend not just ourselves but Nigerians for.
Okay, now let me ask a question. Who are these persons that make up the obedient movement? Because what we see most times, like we read on the pages of newspaper, they keep saying that these guys, these obedient people, this is just like the NSAS, another version of the NSAS movement, and they tend to be very, their momentum tends to be very hot when they start it, but over time it will be depleting. That are we not going to see this? That from now till February 2023 is quite a long time, and there are a lot of things that is going to come up. If you see a political party like the APC, they've not done anything yet. We don't even know what they have to offer. So what would we want to assume that saying it is over at this point in time, it might just be jumping into conclusion too soon. So what's your take on this?
Yes, sir. Basically, the obedience movement is made up of all Nigerians who are battling every single challenge that the country is presenting right now.
Okay.
People tend to confuse the obedient movement for the Labour Party. Okay. I think one is bigger than the other. At the rally on Saturday, I saw PDP ward chieftains. I saw APC ward chieftains that I know of. I saw stoic followers of President Muhammadu Buhari, of the Atiku Abubakar, of even Tinubu himself. It gets to a point where Nigerians begin to realize that it goes beyond just your party affiliation. So while I try to distinguish or make a contrast between who actually are people who are advancing Peter Obi's cause and those Nigerians who are tired of the status quo in general, I also want to group all of them together in the same basket as obedience. People make mention of things and they say obedience or people who support Peter Obi are crass, insult people, hostile, are violent. That's human nature. If you have a bunch of people, a group of people who are tired of a particular system, they begin to exhibit basic human nature. Okay. Is it something that the Labour Party or Peter Obi as a person condones? No, he doesn't. His core followers, myself included, had a structured political way of dialogue, which is why I am here today and I'm not in Ring Road throwing tantrums.
Okay.
But those who are angry, who are hungry, who have been busted, disgusted, and who are living under all forms of SAPA and whatever it is called, form the larger base of obedience.
Okay, now let me bring you up to speed with some realities on ground.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
election in Nigeria is very strategic.
Yeah.
Not just in Nigeria, globally. You checked the United States election that throughout the incumbent President Donald Trump, that brought here. You saw his fans were the loudest. You come online, they finish you. You say Biden, they fire you. But at the end of the day, when it was down to the actual thing, election, voting, a lot of things changed. Now let me bring you up to speed with this reality. There's this thing I call the bandwagon effect.
Yes.
Everybody wants to follow the crowd, especially when something is trending. You see our celebrities during NSAS, a lot of us are not really like the NSAS kind of thing. We didn't really like the whole, let's talk the whole, okay, now it's good for us to remodel the police force, but we didn't actually like the way it was going. But because we wanted to be associated with the trend, because we're actually playing in the social media space. Yes. And if you're not connected with trend, then you'll be disconnected with things. So you lose relevance. And you know what? One of these influencers, these guys you call so-called celebrity, what they thrive on, what they feed on is actually attention. Yeah. You know, attention is currency. Yes, so if at the end of the day, attention is on this angle, and you are in this part of it, and you will lose it. People will take attention from you, and when you start losing attention, you start losing relevance, you start losing currency. So don't you think that the reason why everybody seems to be connected or seems to believe on this obedience movement is because that is the end thing? And everybody wants to be associated, because it's been mentioned of the PDP world chairman. The PDP world chairman, I don't know if you understand what I mean by the word chairman. The PDP world chairman has a responsibility to deliver his word. Yes, because that is where he'll be rewarded. So you not believe that because the PDP world chairman was present at King Square on Saturday to shout obedience, the PDP world chairman will now, which word am I going to use now, abdicate his responsibility as a world chairman and mobilize people to vote against his word when he knows that his reward comes from delivering his word.
His particular objective. Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that. As a student, I'm a person who learns by observation. I read a lot, I listen a lot, and I have studied the American election since 2011. I've been on the entire political space actively since 2011. That's 11 years now. I followed the presidency, the campaign of Barack Hussein Obama then, and something rises during campaign. It's called the populist movement.
Okay.
Now, the populist movement doesn't care about who is affiliated with us. It cares about whose objective aligns with us at the end of the day. So, during that particular election, Barack Obama won Mitt Romney clearly. Majorly because he was able to galvanize not just his base supporters, which were clearly Democrats, but because every other person who called themselves either libertarians, fencists, or whatsoever aligned with his cause. Does it also help if some certain favors, like being the very first black president, play in his favor? Yes, it did. It helped. And those things also joined to bring support for him. Forward down to 2015, 2014, at the Mar-a-Lago resort, Donald Trump descending from the escalator, and he announces his intent to run. There and then he started the alternative Republican movement. He now started labeling other Republicans who a lot of persons are already labeling as the establishment, calling them out as rhinos, that's Republicans in name only. So he created a distinction between himself and the existing structure. That in its own it mobilized a massive support for him. We can judge his personality, his character, and all that on another day, but on a political scene, like you said, it is strategic. So he did that, and immediately he did that, the very first thing he achieved was a new base. People who did not want to identify themselves as Republicans or Democrats. They are there by affiliation, they are there by designation, they are there by job description. But on the ballot box, on the day of election, people want to do what is right for them. It is when you don't give people this option that they fall majorly to their structures. And when he did that, he awakened a new section of the country which was vocal but not that much politically relevant, which is the evangelicals.
Okay.
So they formed a new form of a political class for him. And in 2016, January 2016, he was sworn in as the 45th president of the United States. Fast forward to Joe Biden. Same thing he did. Same thing he did. It gets to a point where you get to understand that humanity is going beyond our need for classification. People are coming out with a new phase of identity, knowing who you are, becoming who you are, accepting you for who you are. That thing is seeping down into our psyche, that people no longer want to be placed under any class. That happened in Nigeria in 2014 when President Muhammadu Buhari came out with change. APC was a new party at that time. The same way we have Labour Party, not necessarily a new party, but on the national level, APC was, I think that was their first major election. Yes, because before then, President Muhammadu Buhari has contested under CPC in 2003, 2007, and 2011. No, in 2007, 2011. In 2003, it was Olufare who contested against Olusegun Obasanjo. So we see that as a country as divided as we are, putting people into camps and putting people into groups is easy to do. So is it a trend? Yes. We were not going to argue the fact that it is not a trend. It is trendy to associate yourself with the obedient movement. Yes, it is trendy.
Okay.
That is why it is important also for people like me, members of the obedient movement, like we did in King Square, to come out and tell people, it is not just trendy for you to be here. It is necessary that you convert this, your trend, into action by getting your PVC, which is the power to actually make this trend stick. And lastly, before I hand over the floor, you made mention of NSAS as a waning movement. NSAS never died. In fact, everybody on King Square that day said, wow, this is ×3 of NSAS. Because we had the entire King Square from Sapler Road down to Airport Road as a ring occupied by people. That did not happen on NSAS. People were motivated to come out like never before because of NSAS.
Okay.
So would NSAS be a recurring factor in our political space? Of course it will be.
Okay, that's fine. Now, you see, I like discourse like this, where my guests have to be the one to help me with the next question. Now, you made mention of Obama, Joe Biden, and the likes.
Yes, sir.
Trump actually came and he had what he wanted to do for Americans. He told Americans that let us own America again. He came up with the American First slogan.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, Mr. Igodala, if you have ever in your life taken a decision, a major decision, because you're angry.
Yes, sir.
I want your response to be direct.
Yes, I have.
And I think that how does it turn out when you take decisions based on anger?
Okay.
Maybe you are angry about a particular thing or about a particular person, and you just take a decision at that point in time.
Okay, so
I want a direct answer
yes,
from you.
okay. Yes, I have. I have taken decisions based on anger because I'm human.
Okay, how does it turn out?
Turns out most times not great.
Good. That in 2015,
Yeah.
Nigerians were angry.
Yes.
Or President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes.
We all went to the polling stations and we voted angrily because we needed a change. Buhari came in. Look at the consequence of that anger. In 2023 or 2022-2023, Nigerians are angry. And the issue we are having now is that we are not asking questions. Peter Obi is actually a child of providence.
True.
Peter Obi is not a saint.
It's not.
He's among the ruling class.
True.
In short, a state governor for 8 years.
Yes.
In a state that seems to be underdeveloped as we speak. I was there last week.
That's debatable. But
Okay, I was there last week. There is nothing different about
there's nothing beautiful.
any
about
beautiful. Anambra is just like every other state in Nigeria that has had their own share of bad leadership.
Yes, yes.
Okay, now we have 3 leading candidates. And we just felt that among these 3 devils, let's go for the lesser one.
Okay.
And we not go now. The reason why I'm asking you this question is that the main issues we should be driving is Peter B, it's good you let us know how bad APC government is, like Buhari did. Have you listened to a video that popped up over the internet last week or thereabout, when Buhari was actually condemning ASU strike?
Yes, yes.
Buhari was
watched that video as at the moment it came out in.
You saw it, Buhari had all the points to use against APC.
Yes.
But this is Buhari that cannot resolve ASU strike. I'm not talking about the insecurity now.
No.
I'm talking about, let's talk about ASU strike. Now, the same thing we're having with Peter Obi. Peter Obi have all the figures, in short, verifiable figures, because he's actually the Mr. Go and Verify. Verifiable figures to let us know how bad the economy, how bad security is, how bad all the indices are. But the question is, are you guys asking him how he's going to fix these issues?
Yes, sir. So
how? The question is how?
How? Okay.
Not what he would do, how?
Not what he would do, but how. So here's the beautiful thing about human beings. I think Nigerians in particular. We exactly know who we want. We don't actually know what we want. So if what we want comes not in the person of who we want, we immediately just find excuses to say, tell us well, let it be clear. In 2015, President Muhammadu Buhari was not clear about anything. You can check this now. My principal is Mr. Go and Verify. The entire presidential speech that Muhammadu Buhari gave in 2015, from the beginning of the campaign till the end, on the campaign trail, was not up to 59 minutes.
But I thought APC had a manifesto then.
I'm coming.
You remember the school feeding program? Remember how they had a lot of lofty ideas. Remember $1 to one naira?
So I'm coming, sir. The ideology of a party, especially for a democracy as young as Nigeria, cannot entirely be tied to the manifesto. If it is not in the person, it is not in the manifesto. Okay, so you think you have it in the Like the Bible says, the letter kills, the spirit gives life. Okay. If the man doesn't carry what he's saying, he cannot give it. We have seen brilliant manifestos from the APC. I've seen brilliant manifestos from the PDP before now. And they asked my principal some days back, sir, what is your manifesto? And he said, actually, I have seen just snippets of the documents in my closed groups. I've seen parts of the document. I'm coming because I want to ask you is this. You've seen just snippets and you are shouting. I'm coming, sir. Wait, what is propelling you? Let me drop my, let me learn. So, I've seen just snippets of the document, and personally I'm excited. As somebody who wants... With the snippets? Wait, sir. As somebody who wants to see a document. Okay. As somebody who wants to see what is written on paper. Yes, you can look at the... Atiku has his document on PDF right now. You can go and download it. Yes. I think it's only Peter Obi and Tinubu that have not released their manifestos yet. Atiku has his own called the 5-point agenda to elevate Nigeria. Listen, if I have a batified or articulated person here, I'm going to ask them some questions. But the reason why I'm asking you, because you are from the Peter Obi camp. The reason why I'm asking you this question is, I'm trying to understand where you see our momentum is coming. Yeah, so what is propelling you guys? Is it the fact that you are angry with the ruling system, or I don't know, what is actually propelling? In 2015, Nigerians were angry. I was angry. But I've been trained, at least you know my source, to understand that you don't make decisions out of anger. If you are angry, outsource your decision making to somebody who has a clearer head. Okay. Peter Obi is not angry. No, you guys. I'm talking about you, not him now. I'm coming, sir. Buhari was angry. Peter Obi is not angry. Peter Obi is making his decision from a point of clarity. Buhari did not. The APC, as that then, made their entire decision to go after presidency from the position of anger. But let me ask you a question at this point in time. If Peter Obi, I want to ask a question. I'm coming to. I'm sorry for interjecting. Because I want to ask you now is this: if Peter Obi had gotten presidency with PDP, would you have voted for Peter Obi? Yes, I would have. Okay, it's actually a person you are looking at. Yes, I would have. Okay, so you have been a supporter of Peter Obi. I want to ask a question. In 2015, when Atiku was it 2015 or 2016? No, 2019. 2019, when Atiku was the president, Obi was his vice. Yes. Did you vote for the PDP? Okay, first, I voted for the PDP. Okay. I did vote for the PDP. So that means you're among the disgruntled and the... It's not disgruntled PDP. So sir, let me put it this way. So, politics has always been a game of the lesser devils. Okay. Has always been a game until 2023. There's always been a game of, okay, who's less worse? That is why, over time, if you check our voter turnout in Nigeria, it has always been increasing, but has always been below 30% of the total population of the country. In 2019, over 64 million people voted, thereabout. 64 to 70 million people voted. As of 2019, we were 200 million. So we had less than 30% of the population actually in the voting scheme. So you would understand that people have always chosen their leaders, especially in Nigeria, on the basis of who's the lesser devil. And when you are trying to qualify who's the lesser devil, you have to come up with, what is this one doing so wrong that I'm doing wrong, but I'm not doing it up to this person's standard. So in 2015, Buhari came out and said, man, I have only 150 cows. I don't have any money. I don't even have money for presidential form. We saw a picture that opposed the image of corruption. We did not see a plan for the country. We saw a person who opposed the mirror of corruption. Is that same thing playing out today in the Peter Obi movement? Of course it is. We're not going to hide about it. It is not a straightforward... Do you know why? It is not a campaign whereby the entire ideology of the campaign is forged by the Labour Party. It is one where Nigerians are saying, oh, now it's no longer the choice of two lesser evils. It's a choice of somebody who we can see and say, yes, he performed. Not just he performed in words, he performed in his mind. He's able to articulate where he wants to take us. He's not saying, in Nigeria before now, when you want to know a politician is running for office, the first thing you hear is diversify, agriculture. So you know these things.
I understand.
But you've never heard those words come out from Peter Obi as a talking point. His major point he wants to say is, we want to move Nigeria from consumption to production.
That's fine. How? Are we asking how?
Yes. No, if we listen to his talk clearly,
Can you find how?
You will articulate how. So he says one thing. He tells you, very first thing we'll do is make sure we cut down on the cost
Of governance.
of governance.
How?
Okay. Now, we have, as at this moment now, we have more than 50 MDGs
Okay.
that are almost not working.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. I'm coming. You see, there's actually an issue I want us to deal with here.
Okay.
The issue I want to deal with is that everybody is clamoring for the obedient movement. Instead of you guys to look at, because politics is very strategic.
Yeah.
You guys should be looking at Labour Party, not Obi. You know why I said so? At the end of the day, you will succeed in making Obi the president.
Yeah.
PDP will succeed in having majority in the House of Assemblies.
Yes, sir.
Or the National Assemblies. In almost all the states, all the state governors, Labour Party will not take take the states, which means that we have a lone ranger.
Running.
Just so at the end of the day, the man has a particular policy that he wants to drive. It has to go through the House of Assembly.
Yes.
And now the people that have the structure, because you guys say you guys say you are structureless. The people that have the structure, is it Nigerians that will not help push bills?
Okay.
Is it Nigerians that will not help? Because these guys, they are actually coming from a political party.
Okay, so that's been a major fear.
Okay.
In the early hours of our entire campaign, myself included, where I sat in roundtable discussions, some people have asked me, how would you succeed when Peter Obi wins? Don't you think he would be frustrated just like Jonathan was in his second tenure, in his first tenure as president? And I tell them, there's a possibility of that. We will not hide the fact that it is a wild shot. You are looking for a needle in a haystack. We're not hiding that fact. But we're saying we will not know until we try.
That's fine.
Secondly, politics is a game of alliance. The very moment Muhammadu Buhari became the president, a bill had to be passed in the second tenure of his presidency, stopping cross-carpeting. Because when he became the president in 2015, more than 20% of all the NAS members moved from the PDP to the APC immediately. So are we going to say now that we're going to see a miraculous movement, a mass migration of people into the Labour Party? No,
okay.
That's not even what we even want.
Okay.
But here's the thing, how would he get these things done? In 2003, when he became the governor of Anambra State, he became the governor of Anambra State against all odds. He was fighting the likes of Chris Umba. He was fighting the likes of the political stalwarts and the political mammoths in Anambra State. But he got things done. He was impeached twice Not once. He was impeached twice. So the idea of Peter Obi being a timid person who's just running on good ideology alone, I think it is flawed. This is a man who has risen to the board of 3 banks, who runs a multinational corporation outside of Nigeria.
I quite agree with you.
He's not only alien. He's not alien to politics as a game in a democratic space. He's also aware of politics as a game in the entire human life.
I quite agree.
It's like we're saying right now that someone like Otedola, I'm not putting them on par, I'm just giving that illustration, would not understand how to play the game, how to bring people to the table and negotiate proper deals. Mind you,
I just like the word you use now. I think that will bring you to my next question. You said proper deals.
Proper deals.
You made mention of the members of House of Assemblies and PDP moving from PDP to APC when
Yes,
Buhari became president.
Yes,
now, take your mind back to 2015.
Yeah.
When Buhari became the president, he didn't do anything.
No, he did not.
It's when his presence alone on that seat was fixing things.
Yeah.
Remember the body language theory,
yes.
how it worked for Nigeria.
Yeah.
But you know what? After a while, what happened? When the alignment and realignment started, you see Buhari became docile. Because the process of moving from one political party to another, do you know the negotiation that take place?
So on that point, sir, on the Buhari point, I counter with this.
Okay.
Buhari took 6 months to assemble his cabinet.
Okay.
As at September 2015, as at this particular time we are now, in 2015, his cabinet had not yet been inaugurated. That's a man without a plan.
No, that's not true. You know why? Sometimes, have you checked, do you know what it takes for you to get a minister?
I'm coming, sir.
From a region?
I'm coming.
From a state?
So, I'm coming. So, in 2016, in 2015, November 20th, 2015, when Donald Trump stood on the podium to accept his victory and to give his victory speech, he immediately did not tell us who would do what, but immediately told us where he wanted to put each and every person, who would actually be there. It is a sign of unpreparedness for me to seek power without understanding how to delegate power. I do not set up a company without understanding the work breakdown structure. As a master of strategic studies yourself, you would understand that that is a poor way to live. Even in the concession of agreements, you would understand that it should be done on the basis of feasibility. So I give this example again. When our governor Godwin Obaseki in 2016, very fortunate year also, became the governor, he took his own time to form his cabinet. It took almost 3-4 months. Why? As at that time, the party was undergoing realignment. But when he came out with his cabinet list, immediately we could see a clear picture of what he wanted to do. Was it what we expected him to do? No, it wasn't. From nowhere, he brought out Barrister Uso to head the wealth creation team. This is somebody who just got back from the Harvard Business School. He brought the current commissioner of SMEs, entrepreneurship, and I don't know the particular ministry in Edo State right now, a very lovely lady from Lagos, experienced woman in her field. Was it also done on concession? Yes. That's politics. Politics is not a game of ideology where it has to just be utopia. It's a game of making concessions, but on what grounds? In 2003, when Peter Obi became the governor of Anambra State, he became the governor by concession. But at the same time, to what end? When he wanted to do his delegation of roles and powers, he did not do it on the basis of nepotism. He did it also on the basis of concession. But we should understand that nepotism doesn't only favor the ill-prepared. Nepotism favors the prepared. That is why a big quote we use in life is, there's no luck. Okay. Luck is opportunity meeting preparation.
You see, Mr. Foster, you know the good thing about what we've discussed so far today is that if it turns out right, it's going to favor me, it's going to favor you.
Exactly.
But if it doesn't, like it was in 2015, you're going to complain,
yes.
I'm going to complain.
Yes.
But the good thing about it is this. If it turns out worse, like a lot of persons are predicting,
yes.
I'm going to hold you I can't.
Lastly, I know our time is up, but lastly, on that same point, in 2015, I told my friends, one thing I try never to do is lose friendship because of politics.
Okay.
Because I try to argue not from a sentimental point. I don't stick my neck out for politicians.
Okay.
On Saturday, I was on top of the fire service truck in Benin, waving the Labour Party flag. I printed shirts. I have been a graphics designer on the back scenes for the entire Peter Obi movement for more than 8 months. Coming now. This is the first time I'm saying it anyway. All these things I'm doing because I'm ready to stick my neck out for this man. Not necessarily because he's going to fix the country, but because in the process of finding a solution, you must first of all what? Stop the bleeding.
Okay, that's fine. I think that's a good note for us to end the conversation this morning. It has been a very interesting one. Like I said, you guys should not just come and push Nigerians to take decisions. So you guys should take responsibility for the outcome of your decision.
We will take decisions anyway.
And take responsibility.
That is why, like I said, I'm sticking my neck out.
Okay.
To take responsibility.
I think it's on this note that we're going to end our discussion this morning on politics and power. It's been a great time. I'm talking with Mr. Efosa Ikodala. Please, you're going to do something for us. I'd like you to drop your comments on this, on our thread on YouTube. And please like this video and share this video across all social media platforms. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at TSLNigeria. Till we come away again on Wednesday with another exciting guest. It's goodbye.